Hi, YouTube family. Today I want to talk about living with the narcissist. It is absolute crazy town if you ever end up living with a narcissist. I want you to know that right away. You know, if you have been a child of a narcissist, or you were married to one, or you just happen to live together because of being relatives or roommates or anything like that, or they're your partner, you have firsthand experience with their crazy town because you're around them all the time when they're tired, when they're sleepy, when they're awake, when they first wake up, when they're hungry, when they're whatever, anything that's bothering them. You are there to witness how unstable these narcissists really are. Because of their insecurity, everything or so many things trigger them, and they cannot handle a lot of the common stresses of life, or they shut down and give you the silent treatment. That's a possibility too. But in my experience, what I have seen is not the shutdown. What I have seen is the explosions and the total out of control misfit, craziness. They're happy, they're delirious, they're sad, you think you're watching some kind of psycho movie when you're around them. But I want to share with you a few stories that I have of living with a narcissist that I have witnessed on one hand, and then the other experience I have heard from the narcissist. So it kind of makes me wonder, what about these two extremes? So I do want to start with the narcissist telling me about their relationships and their marriages. And to me, it seems like it's a gamble. You really don't know what you're going to get, because one example I have is where the narcissist explains their marriage as if things were good and things were going pretty well, but then they get discouraged. I'm not even quite sure if it was discouragement, or they decide that their partner was not all in, or the partner was not giving them what they needed, I guess, as far as giving them affirmations constantly. I mean, after a few years, you get kind of tired of that. But the narcissist never told me about how they might have exploded or treated their partner badly. They told me that at the end, they just asked for a divorce. They were just done. Maybe the partner did one thing that just tipped the scales for them, or made them, or gave them an excuse for an out, and their partner ended up blindsided, had no idea that the relationship was going to end, the marriage was going to end. Suddenly divorce is on the table. And so they're just left completely flattened and destroyed. They have no idea, and they're crying and they're hysterical, and the narcissist is like, but it's over, and they're done. And they just move on. They get a divorce and they move on. Knowing this particular narcissist, I think the real story is that they already had somebody on the side, already had new supply, coming in, and were already working on probably multiple people at that time, and just wanted an excuse to get out of the marriage. They kind of painted themselves as this pretty easygoing, pretty stable person in the relationship, and suddenly the partner did something they didn't like, or they felt was a breach of their marriage, and decided that the marriage needs to end. But most relationships with a narcissist that you live with, what I understand is it starts off on this incredible high, and they take you for this ride, and you don't want this ride to end because you think it's only going to get better if you get married, if you move in together, if you get to be with each other all the time. But what you don't realize is you get addicted to this high, and you don't even notice the lows at first. You don't notice the little jibes they take, the little, jabs they make at your expense. They cut you down by, telling you can't do something right and what's wrong with you. And boy, a monkey could do this or whatever. They start insulting you just little by little, and you accept it at first. And then they might even say, but I'm just joking. I'm just joking, and I love you. And you let that go. But then what ends up happening is you feel so bad and you don't even know why you feel so bad. It gets to the point where you want to just throw yourself off a cliff, for crying out loud, or not really. I don't want anybody to think that and feel that way, but you feel like life is over. This is so horrible. Why do I feel so bad about myself all the time? And the reason you feel so bad about yourself all the time is because the narcissist is chipping away at your self-esteem all the time. Even though you think it doesn't bother you, you're expecting their criticism. You're expecting that they're not going to accept you or your behavior or your achievements, and they cut you down even when you get a promotion and they say that's it, that's all you're getting. Or if you get an award at work or anything and they think, well, did you get any money with that? Good Lord, they don't celebrate with you all your achievements. And in fact, all they point out are all your flaws. And that's why you feel so horrible. And if you're living with a narcissist, you get this 24/7. I think a lot of people who want to be with the narcissist, they think that it's going to be this incredible, fun, heaven-sent relationship. But it's not. It's almost like daily torture. I've watched this inside of a marriage where there was nothing the spouse could do that was right. The narcissist complained incessantly. And because I got to see the narcissist throughout their day, I could tell and I knew what bothered the narcissist. It was probably a friend that was fighting with them, or a family member that was unhappy with them, or something that happened even on a soap opera, and they get upset about that. It's just really nuts what they get upset about, right? Their favorite character, something happens to their favorite character on a TV show, and that sends them spiraling out of control. Then the spouse comes home, and this is what the spouse sees. Just this angry, frustrated, wounded, just out of control hurricane coming at them. And they're like, well, what the heck did I do? And it'll be something stupid like, well, you parked the car wrong. Or you didn't tell me when you were going to come home. Or you're 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late. And why didn't you tell me? Or I don't know. They start to target their anger towards the spouse or the person they are living with, because they are not stable people. What you get to witness is their complete and utter brokenness. But what they do with that brokenness is they turn it towards you, and they try to break you. They try to make you feel as bad as they do. And not just that, they blame you for how bad they're feeling, even though it started long before you even got home. You are not the cause of it. They had other things going on in their life, in their day, that brought them to this point. But now you get to the brunt. You get to bear the brunt of their anger and their frustration, their brokenness, their woundedness, their low self-esteem, or their whatever happened to their self-esteem that day. If they didn't get petted enough, or they didn't get enough people applauding them, or if they had anybody criticize them, even in a parking lot or at a grocery store or on the way home in traffic, you're going to get it. You're going to get this when they get home or when you're there with them. So living with a narcissist is not a vacation. It is work. It is hard work. You're going to feel like you have to continually put Humpty Dumpty back together. And there's no way. There's no way for you to do it. But they'll expect you to be able to do this. They'll expect that you are the one who can help them. They even may have roped you in by saying that. They may even have told you that there's no one like you and that they need somebody like you in order to be complete or in order to help them heal from their wounds. And you think, oh, I'm the only one who can help them. But you can't. You're not the one to help them. What they're looking for is a punching bag. They're not looking for someone to help them heal, because they would have to do that work themselves. They would have to look inside and figure out why they're broken and admit all the things that they did wrong in their previous relationships. They would have to see what they did wrong in those relationships in order to improve the current relationship they're in with you. But they don't do that. They only tell you about what their ex had done that was wrong, how other people had hurt them. And then you're just left with, how do I get through this? How do I help them? And once you realize you can't help them, you have to take them someplace, to a counselor. Or I know that people say that counselors don't really help narcissists, but you know what? They're going to be a little bit more equipped, especially the ones that have experience with narcissists, because they're going to be able to draw boundaries. They're going to be able to tell you and help you draw boundaries that would help you in the home. If you're living with the narcissist, you need to learn what kind of boundaries to set with them. You have to learn what kind of techniques to use with them. And some of those techniques are simply telling them no. That's it. Tell them, no, I won't accept this, and bring them back to reality. Tell them you are behaving exactly as you are projecting to me. And they might go even more crazy and out of control. And if they do that and get violent and verbally abusive, walk out. Seriously, walk out. You don't deserve that. You can tell them, I don't deserve this. And you draw your line, you draw your boundary, and you say, you cross that line, I am gone. And you go to your friend's house for the night. Help them, let them cool down. And here's the deal. Unfortunately, a lot of times what will happen is they will implode or explode. They will destroy and tear down and break things. And if you are not willing to accept that anymore, get out. Seriously, get out, because it doesn't get any better unless they're willing to examine themselves and change. But as we all know, narcissists just don't change. They get worse and worse, and living with them doesn't help them. We become their enablers. We become, their punching bag, and they exercise their frustration out on us. So you don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. No one deserves that. We need to stand strong and firm in our boundaries and let them know, this is how I accept to be treated, and this is how I don't accept to be treated. And have a consequence, like leaving. And you have to be strong enough to do that. That's the only answer to a narcissist, is to know that there are consequences to their actions. And what that ends up most of the time is that you get to leave. And I know at first it might feel really horrible and terrible, but once you get out, you're going to be able to breathe the fresh air. You're going to be able to see yourself again. You're going to be able to start piecing yourself back together again and seeing them for who they really are. So you guys, I hope that this helps to clarify for you that you do not want to move in with a narcissist. You do not want to be that close to them, and get to know whether you're willing to stay in this. They're not going to change, and that's the main thing I want you to know. So if this has helped, please subscribe, please comment, and please like this video, and I'll talk to you soon.